Hello, Photography Nation. Have you heard of the Eddie Adams Workshop? Well, if you haven't, hang on. You're listening to the Master Your Lens podcast, episode 132.
Hey, John Lee Dumas here, the founder and host of EO Fire, and welcome to the Master Your Lens podcast, the photography podcast dedicated to sharing inspiring stories, technical tips, and powerful secrets to help you become a better photographer. And now, your host, Matthew Jordan Smith.
Hello, Photography Nation. How are you doing? Wow. Since I last spoke with you, it has been a crazy couple of days. In last week's episode 131, I shared a meeting with superstar actor Sonny Chiba. In that episode, I shared how I gave him my mini portfolio and how that led to a second night of hanging out. Well, the next night, again we went to have dinner, and Sonny Chiba shared that in November, it is his 60th year as an actor, and to celebrate, he's having this big celebration in November. He showed me a layout of the celebration. We had a great fun night, and we planned to talk more. Then, the next day, something else amazing happened. A client called and said they wanted me to photograph a celebrity who was in town for their movie premiere. Now, I've never met this celebrity ever in my life, but she was here in Japan, and my client wanted me to photograph her with an artist who was also in town. The artist, I do know, one of my good friends, and the celebrity, Angelina Jolie. I wouldn't have long to get the shot, maybe 5 minutes. And the job was very simple. My client simply wanted a photograph of Angelina Jolie with the artist, Chaz Guest. Because she was in town for this movie premiere, she wouldn't have much time as she was doing back-to-back interviews, all related to press for the movie. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. They arranged to give me access to one area. It would be blocked off just for myself and the artist, where hopefully she would spot us and come over. No guarantees. So I had to be ready to get the shot. But what if she doesn't see us? Well, again, my client put us in a VIP area where we're by ourselves. The artist is African American, and of course, so am I, but we're in Japan. Nobody else looks like us. I won't go into all the details, but it was an amazing night. I got my shot. I used the Nikon Z7 with a 105 lens. Angelina was absolutely amazing. Now, I've been to many movie premieres in the States, but never one in Tokyo. And the one here was very different, very respectful. And by respectful, I mean the fans. They were very respectful, and that was wonderful to see. It also felt very safe, but that's one of the pros about Japan. As Angelina is walking the red carpet, she glances over and sees the artist and I. We're all alone in our separate area, and she walks over. I get my shots, and she goes back to doing the red carpet. So at that point, my job is done, but I ask the artist to stick around because I believe there may be a second chance to do another version, and who knows, maybe a better version. And sure enough, as she walks around the red carpet and comes toward the end, she's close to us again. And I call out her name. She looks over and comes over, and we do more shots together. In total, I probably had her for 10 seconds. All right, maybe 10 to 15 seconds. But that was it. But to be honest, that was all I needed. We got the shots. My client was elated. The painter and I walked into the premiere with two of the best seats in the house. thanks to Angelina, and everyone was happy. Now today, I want to talk to you about something that's extremely important as a photographer. Many times, when you're meeting a client for the first time, you only have a moment to make a connection. I've had situations like this many times throughout my career, and I can always feel when there is a connection. Now, even though I only was able to shoot for, let's say, 15 seconds with Angelina Jolie, in that 15 seconds, there was a connection. I don't know when I'll shoot her again or see her again, but I have a strong feeling that it will happen again. Now, this is an extreme situation, but the same thing happens to you every time you work with a new client. You have one moment to connect. Your training gets you ready for the job, and that gives you confidence. So then you can spend all your time making the connection. Don't get distracted by looking at the back of your camera to make sure you have the image. That's what your training is for. Spend your time and your energy making a real connection with your client, person to person. We've talked earlier about having confidence in your photography and how you get confidence. In episode 129, we talk about finding your confidence. If you've done all of that, the training, the preparation, when you are on the job, all of your attention can go toward your client, and you can connect and hopefully have a client for life. When people trust you, amazing things happen. And to trust you, you must make a connection. So number one, be trustworthy. Number two, make that connection. Number three, be prepared for anything. This is where your training comes in, and go beyond what your client is asking you for. I always like shooting as much as possible and getting as many variations as I can. It will never lead you wrong. The connection didn't happen on the first variation. It happened on the second variation. That's when I got better images, and that's when I made a connection with Angelina. Now, this all happened last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 nights of back-to-back business dinners with Sonny Chiba. Thursday, photograph Angelina Jolie with the artist Chaz Guest. But the week wasn't over. On Friday, yet another celebrity is in Tokyo and having a photo exhibit, the opening of his exhibit. I'm not sure if you know or not, but Lenny Kravitz loves photography. As a matter of fact, Leica has made a Lenny Kravitz edition, a special edition camera. And you can buy that here in Tokyo. Well, on Friday night, I was invited to the opening of his photo exhibit. And as you can imagine, it was packed, super cool, with great images everywhere. The images are black and white, and they are basically images of Lenny hanging out with his camera. Many of the images are shots of his daughter, Zoe Kravitz, and the rest are just hanging out and having fun. But they are beautiful black and white images, and it is an incredible show. Not a bad week in Tokyo. On top of that, I had an incredible meeting and made a lot of connections. Definitely not a bad week to be in Tokyo, Japan. In each of these cases, at each of the events, I made sure I had my mini portfolio. And yes, I gave them out throughout the entire week. If you have not heard last week's episode, episode 131, please go back and listen to that episode about the importance of your mini portfolio. Then, remember, you only have 1 second to connect. Use it wisely. Now, my weeks aren't always like this past week, but it didn't stop there. For the weekend, I flew to Tokushima, an area that's very famous for the yearly Awadori Festival. I've yet to go to that, but I plan to go sometime soon. That festival happens in August in Tokushima, and millions of people flock from all over the world just for that festival. I was in Tokushima for an exhibit. I had 2 pictures that I entered into the Awagami mini print competition. I did not win, but my images were displayed, so I wanted to go. There were over 1,600 images in the show, and people submitted from 60 different countries. It was wonderful to see this show in Tokushima, an area known around the world for amazing art. So all in all, a pretty amazing week in Japan. But tomorrow, I am leaving Japan for the Eddie Adams Workshop, which takes place in upstate New York. Now, if you've never heard about the Eddie Adams Workshop, it's a big deal. This is not a workshop that you can purchase a ticket and attend. Thousands of photographers submit their work every year, but only 100 are chosen for the Eddie Adams Workshop. The photographers come from all over the world. Those selected pay nothing. The entire workshop is sponsored by corporations. These 100 photographers are broken up in teams of 10. Each team is assigned a team leader. The team leader is a leading photographer in the industry. Then they're also assigned an editor. The editor is also a leading editor in the industry. In total, there are 10 teams. This year, I am a team leader on one group, and my editor is the photo editor for National Geographic, the longtime photo editor for National Geographic. We have an incredible team, and I'm looking forward to getting to upstate New York and having 5 days of very intensive training. If you want to find out more about the Eddie Adams Workshop, simply Google Eddie Adams Workshop and learn more about it there. It's a big deal in the photo industry. We give them assignments. We find the subjects for them. We critique their work, and we train them on all aspects of being a photographer. And yes, including the all-important aspect of connecting with your client. So recently, I've been getting a lot of requests for workshops in Tokyo. For some reason this year, I've had a lot of requests. And if you are in Japan, this is for you. We have just opened a photography workshop specifically for people who live in Japan. If that's you, listen up. You can now sign up for 2 different types of workshops here in Japan. They are taking place in Tokyo, and there are 2 types. One is a 10-month intensive workshop. We meet 1 weekend per month on a Saturday and Sunday for 2 full days of intensive training. But here's where this workshop is different. It's not just a weekend workshop and that's it. This continues as a class for 10 months. Intensive training. I've always wanted to teach like this because I believe you don't get enough by just going to a weekend workshop. You need more intensive training. This way, you can get results, critiques, assignments, and really learn. So if you are in Japan and you work Monday through Friday, but have your weekends free, this workshop is just for you. The commitment is 1 weekend per month for 10 months. You can find out more and sign up by going to 55k.com. That's 50, F-I-F-T-Y, then the number 5, and K, K-E-I, 55k.com. Again, spell out 50, F-I-F-T-Y, the number 5, and then K, K-E-I. This studio photography masterclass is being taught by 2 photographers, myself, Matthew Jordan Smith, and renowned photographer Derek Makishima. The workshop is taught in English, but there is also a Japanese translator as well. So whether you speak Japanese or English, don't worry, we've got you covered. This workshop is all about studio photography, training you how to work in studio. It is a 10-month intensive training course. Again, the commitment is 1 weekend per month. It's taught in our studio in Tokyo. If you've never worked with lights before, if you've never worked in a studio before, this is your chance to learn photography on a higher level. To sign up, go to 55k.com. That's 50, F-I-F-T-Y, the number 5, and K, K-E-I, 55k.com. Because this is an intensive workshop, there are only 10 spaces available. That's it. Just 10 students for 10 months. To sign up, click Learn More, and then you can go further and sign up for the course. Book your workshop seat now. Fill in your name, your email. We will contact you personally to talk about the workshop, to make sure this is a perfect fit for you and sign you up. Now remember, there are only 10 seats available. That's it. This is a photography intensive masterclass teaching you about light, teaching you how to make amazing portraits. If this sounds like something just for you, sign up now at 55k.com. That's 50, F-I-F-T-Y, the number 5, and K, K-E-I, 55k.com. Now, if you're brand new to photography and want something a little less intensive, we have something there for you as well. Just go to 55k.com. All workshops are taught here in Tokyo, in our studio. Again, sign up by going and filling in your name and email and hit send. Once you do that, someone from the studio will contact you to give you more information and sign you up for the workshops. All right, Photography Nation, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Master Your Lens podcast. If you are going to Photo Plus in New York City, make sure you come by the Nikon booth and say hello. I will be speaking on Thursday, October 24th, between 12 and 12:30. You can also catch it live on Nikon.com. I look forward to seeing you next week in the Master Your Lens podcast. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well. I'm under Matthew Jordan Smith. Again, thank you for your time. This is the Master Your Lens podcast. Always dream big. Bye for now.